Hello everyone and welcome to my bold and beautiful update channel. I hope today fantastic for everyone. Please hit the subscribes button and give this video thumbs up. Steffy's strange move raises questions, while Hope's declaration surprises Carter. The bold and the beautiful spoilers for the next 2 weeks, May 19th to May 30th, state that Steffy Forrester's unexpected move will create doubts, while Hope Logan's announcement stuns Carter Walton. The week of May 19th to 23rd will bring some intimate moments between Daphne Rose and him as she consoles him, so things may heat up. That could be a problem for Carter because Hope will seek him out for a heart-to-heart after she forms a truce with Steffy. Hope will make it obvious that she still wants a future with Carter and may provide an update on Liam Spencer's health. After Hope explains and vows her love, Carter may feel frantic to keep what happened with Daphne hidden. Daphne will also hear an exciting pitch because Will Spencer, Electra Forrester, and Zend Forrester Dominguez will all encourage her to launch a new line at Forrester Creations. There will be additional Forrester developments, as Steffy will raise quite a stir when she allows Hope to rejoin the company. Ridge Forrester will be perplexed by Steffy's strange change of heart following the rebirth of Hope for the future. Despite telling Taylor Hayes the truth about Liam's medical condition, Steffy may keep Ridge in the dark and pretend her priorities are shifting. Brooke Logan will be in a bad mood after her confrontation with Taylor. Brooke will be unhappy that Ridge is sticking to his commitment to Taylor, but she is about to have a major diversion. There's a fair probability it'll be about Hope's return to Forrester, as well as her Carter reunion. While Katie Logan counsels Ridge on his dating life, Liam learns that his most recent brain tests are not looking good. Dr. Buckingham will have some sobering news for Liam, who may realize time is running out. During the week of May 26th to 30th, Liam's symptoms should worsen and become more common. Liam will try to build some final memories and prepare for the end of the road. It appears that BNB is hastening Liam's demise, with no indication of a miraculous cure in sight. So far, all evidence indicate that Liam will die at the end of this plot. Luna Nozawa's wrath toward Steffy will only grow deeper the longer she is apart from John Finnegan. Luna blames Steffy for interfering with her relationship with her father, therefore her building rage may become dangerous at some point. Sheila Sharp may have difficulty controlling Luna as her temper flares. If Deacon Sharp finally finds Sheila and Luna together, they may be caught bonding. The bold and the beautiful spoilers indicate the next 2 weeks will be filled with painful turns and perilous plots, so stay tuned. Steffy's surprising move has Finn questioning her motivations? Finn was startled to find that Steffy Forrester went against Liam Spencer's desires on the CBS series. Her recent move also irritated Liam, who insisted she not notify anyone that he was dying. But she did, and when Finn queries his wife about it, he is not pleased with her response. So Steffy offers Finn a strong cause to question her agenda this week on BNB. Steffy continues to spread the message, as Taylor Hayes later learns. Finn simply agrees with his wife that she did the right thing, but does he truly believe this? Finn is unsure about Steffy Forrester's call to duty on The Bold and the Beautiful. This week on The Bold and the Beautiful, Steffy Forrester delivered the devastating news to Hope Logan regarding Liam Spencer's death. Hope told Steffy that she would not inform Liam about his horrible secret. But that only lasted about 5 minutes since Hope asked Liam back to her place. Hope couldn't control her feelings, and Liam picked up on it immediately away. Then he questioned Hope if Steffy had told her, and she did not deny it. Liam was unhappy because Steffy betrayed her vow. But Hope stood up for her, claiming that she had the right to be notified. Nonetheless, Liam seems upset by the treachery. Steffy's failed commitment not only upset Liam, but it also appeared to irritate Finn. Steffy remained adamant that Hope has a right to know. While most fans agree with her, many still believed it was Liam's responsibility to inform Hope when he was ready. Finn did as well. Bold and the Beautiful early spoilers May 19th to 23rd, Hope stands by her man and crushes her ex. BNB, Steffy takes a firm stance. On Bold and the Beautiful, after breaking the sad news to Hope, Steffy Forrester goes home to see Luna Nozawa and Finn. While Finn had the issue under control, Steffy took over. She told Luna the same thing Finn had said, Luna is not welcome there, and she will never have a connection with him. Steffy quickly took over, just as she had with Liam, by informing Hope of his secret. Steffy made no apologies for doing this when she spoke with Finn on Bold and Beautiful this week. While Finn respected Hope's right to know as his daughter's mother, he wasn't pleased that Steffy did this. But he told her that if Liam is unhappy, he would probably get over it soon. Bold and the Beautiful. Does Finn see the bigger picture? While viewers of Bold and the Beautiful recognized Steffy Forrester as the driving force behind who Finn could and couldn't see for a long time, Finn didn't appear to notice. The wonderful doctor largely took Steffy's advice on how to live his family life. This includes being unable to spend time with his biological mother, Sheila Carter, and the latest demands of not having a relationship with his insane daughter Luna weighed heavily on Finn previously on Bold and Beautiful. With Steffy returning home and telling Finn that she told Hope about Liam's death sentence, he may interpret this as another instance of Steffy taking control and not caring about how Liam feels about it. Similarly, when Steffy Forrester prevents Finn from contacting his mother or daughter, there is no consideration for Finn's sentiments. Steffy's instructions to Finn came across as simply don't do it. BNB, Steffy takes control. Fans of Bold and the Beautiful can understand that Steffy has a valid motive for prohibiting Finn's mother-daughter connection and alerting Hope. However, thus far, it has felt more like shaping Finn's universe, and now it is Liam's chance to lose control over who knows his fate. Bold and the Beautiful 2-week spoilers May 12th to 23rd, Finn torn, Taylor certain, and Carter crushed. With Luna pounding on Finn's door, the situation is far from finished for him. So, will he see the wider picture with Steffy Forrester? Her quest for control alters people's lives, just as she did with Hope Logan at Forrester Creations. Hope did not heed Steffy's advice to keep away from Finn. Or, at least, Steffy believed she didn't. And this rage persisted until the takeover, when Steffy finally had a justification to fire Hope that would stay. But Steffy did everything she could to make Hope's life miserable, including her relationship with Thomas Forrester. She did everything she could to keep her brother away from Hope. Finn soaked it all in from the moment he became Steffy's romantic interest. But now that Steffy has ignored Liam's affections and gone behind his back, perhaps the picture is finally coming together for Finn. So, perhaps this is the starting point for Finn to challenge Steffy Forrester about how he wants things to be, rather than how she thinks they should be on the CBS soap. Will Steffy leave town with Liam to receive life-saving treatment? Steffy Forrester of the Bold and the Beautiful is faced with a difficult decision. Liam's brain tumor demands experimental therapy in another country. Will she leave Finn to save her ex-husband? The ultimate sacrifice, will Steffy leave Finn behind to save Liam's life? A life-or-death decision shocks the Forrester family. Brace yourselves, Bold and Beautiful lovers, for a storm is brewing that might split up numerous families. As Liam Spencer's inoperable brain tumor diagnosis continues to destroy everyone in his life, Steffy Forrester is set to make a move that will leave fans stunned. According to sources, Steffy is seriously considering sending her ex-husband abroad for experimental therapy, potentially leaving her present husband Finn in Los Angeles. An impossible choice that changes everything. The horrific discovery of Liam's brain tumor has already caused shockwaves throughout the Forrester and Spencer families. But what about the incoming bomb? Steffy might accompany him to treatment instead of Hope. Let's be honest, this isn't just about medical treatment. Steffy and Liam have a long history together, and despite her marriage to Finn, there has always been an unmistakable bond between them. When Liam began to experience symptoms and eventually received his bleak diagnosis, Steffy stepped in right away, accompanying him to doctor's appointments and even advising him on whether or not to tell Hope about his condition. Finn has been surprisingly understanding thus far, acknowledging the gravity of Liam's illness and putting aside his jealousy for the purpose of medicine. But how would the nice doctor respond when he discovers that his wife may be fleeing the country with her ex-husband? And, more significantly, will Hope Logan stand by and see her children's father go with her longtime rival? A medical miracle that could rekindle old flames. The experimental treatment that could save Liam's life is not accessible in the United States, therefore someone must accompany him for weeks or months of therapy. While Bill Spencer has offered to accompany his son, physicians believe Liam requires someone knowledgeable with his history, someone like Steffy. When you're fighting for your life, you need people around you who truly know you, says a program insider. And no one knows Liam quite like Steffy does. But let us not be naive. Putting these two in a high-stakes, emotional situation away from home is akin to lighting a match next to gasoline. Will seeing Liam struggle for his life spark the feeling Steffy has worked so hard to suppress? So where does it leave Finn? According to sources, Finn may initially offer to join them and use his medical expertise to check Liam's condition. However, professional commitments at the hospital may prohibit him from remaining long-term, leaving Steffy and Liam alone during their most vulnerable period. Ridge and Taylor weigh in on their daughter's decision. As Steffy struggles with this terrible decision, her parents, Ridge and Taylor, are divided on what she should do. Taylor, who is a doctor herself, sees the gravity of Liam's illness and encourages Steffy to assist the father of her child. Meanwhile, Ridge is concerned about the impact on Steffy's marriage and whether she is preparing herself for heartbreak again. Does history repeat itself? Let's not forget that Ridge has spent decades bouncing between Brooke and Taylor, and now his daughter finds herself in a similarly complicated emotional triangle. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree in Los Angeles. Hope's surprising reaction that no one saw coming. Perhaps the most unexpected aspect of this growing scenario is Hope's reaction. Rather than competing to be the one to accompany Liam, sources suggest that Hope may actually persuade Steffy to go. Is she finally accepting that her marriage to Liam is finished for good? Or does she have ulterior motives? Some fans believe that with Steffy gone, Hope will focus on getting closer to Finn, especially after their contentious kiss at the Forrester party. Whatever happens, one thing is certain, Liam's diagnosis and treatment will put every connection on the line. Will Steffy give up her marriage to save her ex-husband's life? Will Finn support his wife or reach his breaking point? What about the youngsters caught in the midst of this emotional hurricane? The stakes have never been higher, and the consequences of these decisions will influence stories for months to come. One source summed it up perfectly: when it comes to life and death, people reveal their true colors. What Steffy does next will expose the true location of her heart. Steffy and Hope officially make peace, while Carter and Daphne sizzle in the shadows. It was a moment years in the making, an emotional climax not born from sudden sentiment but forged in heartbreak, betrayal, and growth, the kind of moment that doesn't arrive with fireworks or grand speeches but with the quiet, weighted pause between two women who have warred like queens across a chessboard of love, loss, and legacy. And when Steffy Forrester and Hope Logan finally sat down in the sun-drenched garden behind the Forrester estate, the silence said everything before a single word was spoken. For too long they had lived as rivals, not only because of Liam Spencer, the man whose indecision tore their lives apart again and again, but because of something deeper, more insidious, a generational rivalry seated in their mothers, in family histories, in the ghosts of Stephanie and Brooke, whose battles were inherited like silk and scandal. But this was different. This wasn't about a man anymore, not about who Liam loved more or who wore the Forrester name with greater honor. This was about survival, about peace, about daughters who had seen too much damage and mothers who had sacrificed too much pride. And so when Hope reached across the table, her voice trembling but her words firm, "I don't want to keep living in this cycle," Steffy didn't flinch, didn't scoff, didn't retreat into that steely armor she'd worn for years. Instead, she breathed, blinked back the weight of their history, and nodded. And in that simple gesture, history shifted. They spoke like women no longer trying to win, but to understand, with Hope confessing the agony of her choices, the depth of her feelings for Thomas, the shame that came not from loving him but from the silence that followed. And Steffy, ever fierce, let her guard down too, admitting that while she would always protect her brother, she didn't want to destroy Hope anymore, didn't want to model that kind of bitterness for their daughters, who deserved more than legacy wars and whispered venom. They laughed, finally, over the irony of it all, how they'd spent so many years clawing at each other over a man who couldn't even choose himself, let alone a partner. And in that laughter was a kind of liberation, a release from the narrative that had bound them both too tightly for too long. And in that moment, under the spring roses and the hummingbirds that darted like symbols of freedom, Steffy and Hope did the impossible. They made peace, Not just with each other but with themselves, and while the family rejoiced quietly, relieved at the newfound truce, the real heat of the hour ignited elsewhere, in corners where no truce had been asked or needed, because across town, behind the sleek glass walls of Forrester International's design studio, Carter Walton found himself in dangerously unfamiliar territory. Caught in the gravitational pull of a woman who had never been part of his story until now, Daphne Moretti, the stunning, enigmatic lead European consultant for Forrester's Milan division, who had arrived in Los Angeles under the pretense of logistics and expansion but brought with her a heat Carter hadn't felt since Quinn Fuller shattered his heart. From their first interaction, something unspoken sparked between them, not flirtation, not yet, but a kind of awareness, like their souls had met in another life, and as days passed, their interactions grew charged, their proximity electric, and Carter, always the consummate professional, found himself stumbling over words, over himself, as Daphne glided into rooms with that cool Italian grace, her eyes dark and unreadable, her voice like velvet over steel. She challenged him, not with arrogance but with intellect, with strategy, with suggestions that disrupted his neat, structured world, and in those challenges, Carter felt something dangerous stirring, attraction laced with respect, longing threaded with awe. They worked late under the guise of design reviews and supplier calls, but both knew it was more, and one evening, as a thunderstorm rolled in over the city, cutting power for a flickering second, their hands met over the same sketchpad, and everything shifted, the electricity between them no longer metaphorical but real, coursing through their skin like wildfire, and before logic could interrupt, they kissed, not hesitantly, but with the force of two people who had waited long enough. What followed was nothing short of volcanic. Carter and Daphne, locked in a passionate embrace in the dim light of the emergency backup system, lips colliding, hands hungry, hearts exposed, and when they finally pulled apart, breathless and trembling, Carter knew something irreversible had begun. They tried to keep it quiet, to return to normal the next day, but desire doesn't hide well, especially not in the Forrester building, where eyes are always watching and rumors are currency. And soon whispers began, about Carter's late meetings, about Daphne's lipstick smudged just a little too perfectly, about the way she smoothed her blouse when she exited his office with a smirk, and Ridge, always the first to sense when something was brewing, pulled Carter aside, half concerned, half intrigued, warning him not to let another affair ruin his credibility. But Carter, for once, didn't flinch, because this wasn't reckless or impulsive. This was a connection he couldn't ignore. One that didn't come with lies or manipulation, only fire and truth. Daphne, too, had her secrets, her scars. She had left behind a collapsed engagement in Milan, a betrayal that left her wary of intimacy, but Carter disarmed her, not with charm but with honesty, with his quiet strength, with the way he listened instead of performing. Together, they began something quietly epic, not announced with flair or confessions but lived in stolen glances, in whispered conversations over espresso, in the long silences that felt like home, and as Steffy and Hope declared peace and set down their swords, Carter and Daphne picked up something far more dangerous, desire with no guarantee, affection with no roadmap, the kind of connection that burns slow and hot and threatens to consume everything if left unchecked, but neither wanted to stop it, not now, not when the world felt so full of noise and chaos, and Carter had finally found someone who saw him beyond the suits and duty, and Daphne, too, had found someone who made her believe again in beginnings. And while the family began to mend, while Brooke praised Hope's maturity and Thomas dared to hope for a future no longer haunted by scandal, in the quiet of the design studio, Carter and Daphne lit their own kind of match, one that might burn down walls or build something breathtaking, depending on how carefully they tended the flame. Liam's disappointing news. Liam Spencer had always carried the weight of the world on his shoulders, part by choice, part by circumstance, but nothing could have prepared him for the gut-punch reality that awaited him this time, and as he stood in the center of the Forrester Creations executive office, the walls suddenly seemed smaller, the air heavier, and the future more uncertain than ever before. The call had come earlier that morning, his phone buzzing with a Los Angeles area code he didn't recognize, and something in his gut told him to brace himself, but he answered anyway, hoping against hope that it was some meaningless business update or maybe even a friendly check-in from a colleague, anything other than what it turned out to be, the confirmation that Hope Logan, the woman he'd loved more times than he could count, had officially filed the paperwork to legally separate, not a conversation, not a warning, but the cold finality of a legal process that had begun without him, a fact that sent his heart into a spiral of guilt, anger, and sorrow. She hadn't even looked him in the eyes before pulling the trigger, just signatures and silence, and though part of him knew they'd been drifting, that the version of them they kept trying to revive had long since faded, it didn't dull the sting of being left behind. Worse yet, the news came just days after he'd received word that his position at Spencer Publications was being quietly restructured. Restructured meaning his influence would be reduced, his voice marginalized, and all under the guise of streamlining, a decision his own father, Bill Spencer, had greenlit without so much as a face-to-face conversation, leaving Liam to wonder if he was being punished, phased out, or simply forgotten. The double blow, personal and professional, left him reeling, spiraling back into the self-doubt that had always lurked just beneath his composed exterior. And for the first time in a long time, Liam didn't have a plan, didn't have a person to talk him through the storm, didn't have Hope's steady voice or Steffy's tough love guidance, just the echo of his own thoughts reminding him of all the ways he'd failed, all the decisions he second-guessed, all the moments he let slip through his fingers. He wandered the halls of Forrester like a ghost, passing by framed photos of family, fashion, and a history that now felt like someone else's story, not his. Co-workers offered polite smiles, unaware of the tornado inside him, while the world kept turning business as usual, as if his heart hadn't just been shattered from two directions at once. And so Liam did what he always did. He straightened his tie, put on the brave face, and told himself he'd get through it, that maybe the next chapter was waiting just beyond the next heartbreak. But deep down, a part of him feared that this time, there might not be a next chapter at all, just the long, quiet reckoning of a man who gave too much and still ended up alone.